16. September 2022. The revealer of new growth, the spring, often brought forth the good intention of positive change for those who dared to imagine. It had been mostly Lydia's idea to embrace it, as she decided the two of them must stop playing house and take the at times awkward step of meeting one another's family. Locrian had ceded to her persuasion and made contact with his dad and sister. Enough text messages to at least convince Lydia that he was making an effort. Perhaps to prove her point, Lydia decided they would take the long drive to visit her father as well. Will he approve of the moody weasel who is dating his little girl? Best limber up in case you have to run. Good one. Good joke, right? If humour had been her intent, it was deadpan beyond recognition. To be fair, her vivacity vanished in the week leading up to the visit, insomuch that their roles switched, and Locrian found himself appeasing her with a feigned lightheartedness that she saw right through. You don't seem all that excited. Is there a problem? Not yet, at least. You never know what you might discover. My mysterious little Venus. Why are you calling me that? There was the hope that the weekend would come and go, and that their life might regain the fervent vigour of their early days. For they had been together for close to a year now, and had settled somewhat into a routine that walked the precarious line of the mundane. Neither could deny the appeal of such a bond though, where talk at last became easy, and the deepest secrets within them could be aired without fear of rejection or persecution. However, this one sticking point was proving to be quite a thorn, and despite his unexplained evasion of his own relatives, Lockie was beginning to think it might have been simpler on them both if they'd gone to his father's place first. Still, he drove his car, God only knew where, past the outskirts of Sydney, with her beside him in the passenger seat, off in her own reverie, sunglasses covering any sort of read he could gain of her mood, hair flicking in the wind as they flew down the highway. Lydia had barely spoken all morning, beyond setting up GPS directions and agreeing to a takeaway coffee. Lockie couldn't understand it. He knew, though, that he was growing weary of the negativity, to the point where he fidgeted in his seat, desperately trying to spark conversation, but realising it was usually her that led the way. They were silent as the car was noisy, the old engine straining in fifth gear, the wind slapping the sides of the car, the music issuing forth from the stereo. Their owl figurine stood on the dashboard, wedged so that the slant of the windscreen held it still, the colour of its lacquered body fading under constant exposure to sunlight. Lockie reached over to poke its body and hoot playfully, with Lydia only giving a sympathetic smile in return. You're so quiet. What's wrong? Nothing, she said. What is this? Iggy Pop. The Idiot, one of my favourites. Yeah, fine, but why do we have to listen to CDs? What year is this? It's all the car has. I don't know. It's just how I've always done it. We should have taken my car, is what I'd say if I had one. She hid her face behind a sip from her coffee cup. Are you going to tell me what's wrong or not? I just want to get this over with, okay? They were finally able to pass the semi-trailer that had slowed their progress for some time. It doesn't have to be awkward. What are your parents like? Tell me about them. Lydia wound her window up, sealing in a sudden quiet. Dad. Mum's not there. You've never told me about that, beyond the fact that they aren't together. It doesn't matter where she is, she snapped, or what happened. She's not there. Sorry. It was too late to save the situation. He could feel her anger rising. What about you? You don't talk about your mother either. And you still haven't messaged your dad. I did. I told you that. I think I just want to go home. What? We're 200 kilometres outside of Sydney. I said I want to go home. Turn the car around. I can't do that here. We're on the highway. Car around. Do it. I'll open this fucking door and jump out. Turn the car around. All right. I'm doing it, okay? I'm going to do it. He could do little more but grant the request, however drastic it seemed. She'd never behaved like that before, not in front of him at least. And this new part of Lydia's personality left him stranded in an uncharted field where any step could set off a landmine. He ached from the hours of driving, now inadvertently doubled, and wished the ground would open up and swallow him, that he might crawl back into bed and forget how much of an ordeal this had become. He glanced over to her, knowing she was crying behind the sunglasses, unsure of whether he should say anything or keep quiet. The fuel gauge was approaching empty. "I just can't do it today," she said softly. "I thought I could. I know I should, but I can't. I can't face it."